الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. أما بعد. Hadith number 207, page 151, in the third chapter of the book Kitab Al-Hayd, Bab of Menses. In the 28th subchapter, Bab al-Tayammum. Tayammum. When a Muslim, as we've explained in detail, does not have water or has water but for one reason or another doesn't have the ability to use that water for something when you would normally use the water, such as wudu, when you make wudu before you pray, such as ghusl, when a person has had sexual intercourse and you've reached climax. Before you can make the salah again, you must make what we call ghusl, a spiritual bath, even if your body isn't dirty, even if your body doesn't smell, but you must make spiritual purification, ghusl. So therefore, it's time to make a ghusl, it's time to make wudu, but there's no water. The water is out. Your car's on the side of the road, there's no water. Or you have water, but the water is very cold. Or the water is hot, but the weather is cold. You'll catch cold, you get sick if you make wudu. Or you have scabs on your body, scars, bandages, things that prevent you from using the water. Now, you do that which is called tayammum, at-tayammum, which you brothers already know, and I'm sure the brothers and the sisters online know as well. However, those of us who may not know, and those of us who do know, it won't harm us in reviewing and revising and making it even clearer, and also perhaps maybe clarifying some misconceptions that some of us may have regarding the tayammum. Most people say tayammum. They say tayammum, which is incorrect. At-tayammum, at-tayammum, and at-tayammum once more, is one or two scenarios. The first is when there is no water for wudu. No water for wudu. You may have water for drinking, you may have water for other things, but there's no water that you have for wudu. And the second scenario is when there is water for wudu. You do have water, but for one reason or another, you cannot use that water, such as not being enough for drinking it and making wudu. We're in the desert, or we're in the forest, wherever you are, you need to drink water, and it's not enough. If we use the water for wudu, we're going to go thirsty and die. Or it's extremely cold, and there's no way of warming up the water. It's nothing to dry off with. It's one thing, the water being a little cold, you say, man, this is cold, akhi. But it's just a little brisk. You can, as we say, man up. Suck it up just a little bit. It's not freezing. But there's some times in which it's cold, and if this water touches your skin, you're going to wake up sounding like this, if not worse. You're going to catch cold, pneumonia, whatever the case is. You're going to get sick. It's that cold. Everybody understand this? Or you have cuts, scratches. The water is going to delay your recovery. Or anything else like this. Your body may be sick. You may be sick. Sometimes you may have the chills. And the water is going to make your body feel colder instead of you trying to feel warmer, even if the water isn't that cold or it's not that cold outside. Al-Muhim is when you don't have the water or when you do not have the ability to use the water. Very important understanding of tayammum that every single Muslim should have. Every single Muslim should know this. It's not for a scholar or a student. Every Muslim should know the basics of tayammum when you don't have the water or when you don't have the ability to use the water. And the third scenario is when you have water but you technically don't have it, such as the water being sold to you at a very expensive price. Let's say outage, a shortage, a storm, another Y2K is going to come, whatever the case may be, a tornado, hurricane, a major disaster, quote unquote natural disaster, plane crash, car crash, and there's someone who has a stockpile of water, someone who has a stash of water. And he goes to the people and he says, I'll sell you this bottle of water, Devin, but it's going to be $100. $100 for this water. So you have the water and you also have the money in your pocket. So you can buy the water and make the wudu. However, the price is so high, so steep. Everybody understand this? It's going to cause you harm financially. It's breaking your back. And the only reason why the water is so much because he knows that he can do that. He monopolizes the water source now. So he said, I don't have to buy this water. I can just make the tayammum. Even though I do have the water. I do have the money. It's not cold. I'm not sick. I can use it. But technically, you what? You don't have the water. There's a difference. Pay attention once more. There's a difference. Number one, the first scenario is what? The water is not what? There. Period. Done. There's no what? Water. Scenario number two. No. Nope. You can't use it. You can't use it. Whatever. Whether you're sick or not. It's cold, sick. What? You don't have the ability to use it. The third scenario is you have water, but you technically don't have it. Everybody clear on this? You technically what? Don't have it. And you can see that all three scenarios are generally connected. Khairan, inshallah. We explained all of that. And we also explained, what we're going to get into even more now, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, is a specific way of making the tayammum. Do you have to wash your head? You put dirt on your head? Do you have to put dirt on your feet? Do you make the tayammum like you would normally make wudu? Like you would normally make ghusl? Or is it different? Khairan, inshallah. Hadith number 207. The author, rahimahullah, he says, حديث عمار رضي الله عنه عن شقيق قال كنت جالسا مع عبد الله وابي موسى الأشعري فقال له أبو موسى لو أن رجلا أجنم فلم يجد الماء شهرا أما كان يتيمم ويصلي فكيف تصنعون بهذه الآية في سورة المائدة فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا صعيدا طيبا فقال عبد الله لو رخص لهم في هذا لأوشكوا إذا برد عليهم الماء أن يتيمموا الصعيد قلت وإنما كرهتم هذا لذا قال نعم فقال أبو موسى ألم تسمع قول عمار لعمر بعثني رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في حاجة فأجنبت فلم أجد الماء فتمرغت في الصعيد كما تمرغ الدابة فذكرت ذلك للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال إنما كان يكفيك أن تصنع هكذا فضرب بكفه ضربة على الأرض ثم نفضها ثم مسح بها ظهر كفيه بشماله أو ظهر شماله بكفه ثم مسح بها وجهه فقال عبد الله ألم تر عمر لم يقنع بقول عمار. The hadith is stated, number 207, narrated Shaqiq. While I was sitting with Abdullah, meaning Ibn Mas'ud, and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, the latter asked the former. Abdullah, Ibn Mas'ud was asked by Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. He asked him, if a person becomes junub in a state of sexual defilement, if you have sexual intercourse and you ejaculate, in Islam you are spiritually defiled. Even if your body isn't physically defiled, you are junub and you're in a state of janaba, and you must come out of that state of janaba. He says, if a person becomes junub and does not find water for 1 month, can he perform tayammum and offer his salah? He replied in the negative. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said no. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said what? As if he replied in the negative, in parentheses. Abu Musa said, what do you say about this verse from Surah Al-Ma'idah? And you find no water, then perform tayammum with clean earth and rub therewith your faces and hands. Abdullah replied, if we allowed it, then they would probably perform tayammum with clean earth, even if water were available but cold. I said, you then dislike to perform tayammum because of this? He said, yes. Shaqiq added, Abu Musa said, haven't you heard the statement of Ammar to Umar? Ammar is the two more companions, Ammar ibn Yasir and Umar ibn Khattab. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari is asking Abdullah Mas'ud, after Ibn Mas'ud said, If we allow them to make tayammum at the slightest, simplest reason, they would just do it nonchalantly. Oh, it's cold. Let me just make the tayammum instead of making the ghusl. So Abu Musa said a second time, haven't you heard another conversation like the one that we're having right now, Abu Sa'id? Haven't you heard the other one between Umar ibn Khattab and Ammar? طيب? He says here, Ammar said, I was sent out by Allah's Messenger ﷺ for some job, for something. Go find this, go get this one. You do whatever. Everybody understand this? He was sent out for what? A hajjah, to do something, take care of something or someone. Khairan inshallah, he sent him out to do something. He then said to him, so I became junub. Ammar became junub. He had his wife with him, al-muhim, he had a dream, he became what? Junub. And could not find water. So I rolled myself over the dust, clean earth, like an animal does. And when I told the Prophet ﷺ of that, he said, like this would have been sufficient. The Prophet ﷺ, saying so, lightly stroked the earth with his hand once and blew it off. Then passed his left hand over the back of his right hand, or his right hand over the back of his left hand, and then passed them over his face. So Abdullah said to Abu Musa, don't you know that Umar was not satisfied with Ammar's statement? Don't you know that Umar was not satisfied with Ammar's statement? What does this hadith mean? What does it prove? What does it teach us? This hadith shows us several different points. The first point is that there was some difference of opinion among the Sahaba regarding the issue of tayammum in the beginning, in the early days. Is that there was some khilaf regarding this issue among some of the Sahaba. Number two, this hadith also teaches us is that one makes tayammum for ghusl just like he makes tayammum for wudu. The first hadith, the previous hadith, Aisha, the lost necklace in the desert, wasn't necessarily pertaining to ghusl. Wasn't necessarily pertaining to what? Ghusl. The salat came in. Yani, wudu. In most cases, when you're traveling and it's time for salat, the average person just has to make wudu and not ghusl. This hadith here teaches us that the tayammum, just like it's made for wudu, is also made for ghusl. So when you make wudu, what type of hadith do you have? That's right. Minor hadith. Hadithun asghar. You passed when? You slept. How many opinions on sleep? Jamil. 8 opinions. Good. What's the first? If you're going to criticize me, at least keep up. Oh, what did he say? He said what? Keep up. Now, what's the first view? You slept, according to Jeremy. Sitting up, laying down, lying down, al-muhim, sleep. You passed when? You urinated. There was a minor hadith. You broke your wudu. When it's time to make salat, what do you have to do? That's it. You don't have to make a ghusl. That's called minor ritual impurity. Hadithun asghar. Every Muslim, once again, also must what? Know this. Even if you don't memorize the term in Arabic, every single Muslim has to know these basics. Is that you being in an impure state is of 2 types, minor and major. The minor type, as an example, is when you pass wind. You must now what? Make wudu. You can't pray unless you make wudu. You slept with your wife. You now must just make wudu? You have to make it what? Ghusl. A woman stops or she's done with her menstruation. She can just make wudu and pray? She must what? Make a ghusl. You have a wet dream. You ejaculated in that wet dream. Obviously the dream is wet. Nah, it's a difference. If you just have a dream, you see the opposite sex. Here's actually a wet dream. You reached climax. You had an orgasm in your sleep. You woke up. Before you make the salah, you must do what? Make a ghusl. So this hadith teaches us is that tayammum is made for hadith akbar just like it's made for hadith asghar. Everybody understand this? And we've explained that in more than enough detail. Moving forward, the hadith teaches us many other things as well. But now let's just break down the hadith now. How many people are debating now? How many people are having a debate in this hadith? Initially. Just 2 initially. Who are they? Ibn Mas'ud and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Two famous companions. Obviously, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud being more famous. Both of them had knowledge. They're from the ulama. Obviously, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud having more. He was from Kibar ulama of the Sahaba. Tayyib? Both of them. So they're having a debate. Tayyib? What did Abu Musa radiallahu anhu say to Abdullah? Before that. Before that, what did he say to him? Before that. He says, لو أن رجلا أجنب فلم يجد الماء شهرا. He said to him, hypothetically, or maybe it did happen, maybe he's talking about himself, al-muhim. Abu Musa said to Abdullah Mas'ud, what if a man became junub? He slept with his wife, he had a wet dream, whatever the case may be. A man became what? Junub. And he didn't find the water to make ghusl for 1 month. What can he do? What did Ibn Mas'ud say? Before that, Abu Musa asked him what? أَمَا كَانَ يَتَيَمَّمُ وَيُصَلِّي أَيْوَهِ. Can he make tayammum and pray? For how long? 1 month. Everybody clear on this? And then he recited to him what verse? After, listen carefully now. It says here, أَمَا كَانَ يَتَيَمَّمُ وَيُصَلِّي. In Arabic it says, can he make tayammum and make salah? And it's a question mark. And it's nothing there. In English it says, he replied in the negative. As if in Arabic something is missing. He says, أَمَا كَانَ يَتَيَمَّمُ وَيُصَلِّي. Can he not make tayammum and prayer? Question mark. Then it says, فَكَيْفَ تَصْنَعُونَ بِآيَةِ Surah Al-Ma'idah. Everybody understand this? فَكَيْفَ تَصْنَعُونَ كَذَا وَكَذَا. Everybody clear on this? He said to him, can he make tayammum and salah? There's nothing there. Then it says, فَكَيْفَ ... Then what about this verse from the Quran? In other words, something is not mentioned in Arabic. That Ibn Mas'ud said, no. Ibn Mas'ud said he what? He cannot do it. Ibn Mas'ud told Abu Musa what? No. Abu Musa radiallahu anhu had 1 or 2 options, 1 or 2 opinions. Which were they? Either that he can, or he wasn't sure. But he definitely wasn't decisive on the opinion of Ibn Mas'ud. Everybody understand this? He definitely was not in full agreement with what? Ibn Mas'ud. Now everyone concentrate now. You got to concentrate. Tayyib. And this goes to show you, hadith takes just as much, if not more, intelligence and understanding than the study of fiqh. Not like the people who are skimming on the surface say. Hadith is just memorization. That's it. You just memorize. Fiqh is understanding. Or as we heard at the conference, he said the scholars of hadith are the pharmacists and the fuqaha are the doctors. So if you're a hadith specialist, you just prescribe something. That's it. You have no knowledge of actual medicine. And the doctor, the one who tells you what to do, and that's the what? We know even in the secular sciences that statement is what? It's that rubbish. Allahu Akbar. In other words, the pharmacist has to have knowledge of medicine in order to prescribe the stuff. Everybody understand this? Let alone who's the one who tells you when to take the medicine? Sometime the pharmacist and sometime the... Everybody understand this? Khairan, inshallah. Moving forward. This hadith, it tells us what? Is that you have to have what? Understanding and intelligence to study and read what? Hadith. This is one hadith. We're like, who's going on? Ibn Mas'ud, Abu Musa, this, that. Right or wrong? Right, Sadiq? This is just one hadith. Everybody clear on this? We didn't start going really surgical gloves yet. Taib. Ibn Mas'ud's view was what? Is that you can't what? He cannot make tayammum. Not wudu. Nobody is different over what? Wudu. They're different over what? Tayammum. For how long? A month. The man is junub. He's going to be junub for how long, Lutfi? Shahran. Ibn Mas'ud says what? No. He has to get some water. Abu Musa radiallahu anhu said what? 1 or 2 things. Either he totally different with Ibn Mas'ud, or he wasn't sure. One thing we know for sure is that he did not agree with Ibn Mas'ud. Everybody got this or not? Right, moving forward. Hadith says, فَكَيْفَ تَصْنَعُونَ بِهَذِهِ الْآيَةِ فِي سُورَةِ الْمَائِدَةِ, as if he was either asking him for assurance, for clarity, or refuting him. Everybody understand this? If you say that he can't make the tayammum, then what about what the Quran says? What does the Quran say? فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. Allah says, and you don't find water, فَتَيَمَّمُوا, to make the tayammum from Sa'id Tayyib. What you want to get into, what is meant by Sa'id. Not with a sin, but with a Sa'd. What's meant by Sa'id? He says here, listen. فَقَالَ عَبْدُ اللَّهِ Ibn Mas'ud, he then did what? He reversed, he countered. He struck back against Abu Musa. And he says, لَوْ رُخِّصَ. He says here, لَوْ رُخِّصَ لَهُمْ فِي هَذَا لَأَوْشَكُوا إِذَا بَارَدْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَاءُ أَنْ يَتَيَمَّمُوا الصَّعِيدِ. He said, if we gave this fatwa to the people, that whenever you don't find any water, obviously there's some water. And the only reason why he doesn't have the water is for a reason. He says, if we give them this fatwa, لَوْ رُخِّصَ لَهُمْ, if we allow them to do this, then they will make the smallest, pettiest excuse not to make a ghusl, not wudu, Sharif. Make a what? Ghusl. They will find the smallest excuse not to what? Make a ghusl. Everybody clear on this? Because of the water being cold. Abu Musa's turn. Then what did he say next? Khalid. He says, إِنَّمَا كَرِهْتُمْ هَذَا لِذَا. He says, that's the only reason why you take this view? Is that the people become laxed because of the cold, because kada. That's the only reason? He says, yes. فَقَالَ Abu Musa, he then threw his hardest punch now. Everybody understand this? Right back at Ibn Mas'ud. He said, أَلَمْ تَسْمَعْ قَوْلَ عَمَّارٍ لِعُمَرٍ. He says, didn't you hear what Ammar, another companion, said to? Who was? Right, another companion. So how many companions in this issue now? 4. 2 initial people. And then Abu Musa brought what? 2 more. Who's narrating all of this? Shaqiq. Sahabi or Tabi'i? What's his name? Khayran, inshallah. Moving forward. He says, listen carefully. He says, what did Ammar say to Umar? Ammar told Umar what? That the Messenger of Allah one day did what? I sent. Go to Manhattan. Go to Philadelphia. I need you to pick this up for me. I need you to bring me back the books from Medina. I sent you on a what? A mission. What happened on that mission? You slept in a hotel. You slept in a car. What happened? You what? You became junub. For one reason or what? Another. Obviously, with the Sahaba, we know it was something that was permissible. If we send a brother to another state or city and they became junub, we can't necessarily say the same. Everybody clear on this or not? Allah al-Musta'an. Everybody understand this or not? So Ammar became what? What did he do when he became junub? He rolled in the dirt like an animal. In other words, he knew that there was something called what? Tayammum. Ammar knew what? Tayammum. However, his tayammum wasn't finely tuned. And he thought that if you're making tayammum for janaba, then you have to do it like what? Like a ghusl. Nah, the animal is just a description. That's just the what? The description of how he rolled in the dirt. Like some type of animal. Everybody understand this? Like an animal what? Roll around. A pig, a long mustard. A cat perhaps. Something noble, yahi. This is Sahaba. A cat rolling around, even playing around in the dirt. Everybody doing this? Thinking that this was the proper way of making tayammum for instead of a ghusl. Everybody clear on this? After he did this, he didn't feel comfortable with it. He was unsure. So he went back to who? No. He went back to what? How many people we got now? Shaqiq, Musa, Ibn Mas'ud, Ammar, and Umar. 5 people now. Tayyib. So Ammar, he rode around in the dirt, and then he went and told who? What did the Prophet acknowledge, or what did he say? In other words, he never said what he did was bad or wrong, but he says that you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do what? All of that. Everybody clear on this or not? You didn't what? He says the only thing you had to do was what? He didn't say anything after that. What did he do? Asanta. The Prophet physically taught he taught Ammar. And what did the Prophet do? The hadith says what? It says, listen carefully. فَضَرَبَ بِكَفِّهِ ضَرْبَةً عَلَى الْأَرْضِ. He took his hands and he did what? He hit the ground. Listen carefully. It says بِكَفِّهِ. It says his hand and it doesn't say his hands. It doesn't say كَفَّيْهِ. Even though in the Arabic language, the word kaf, and then we have the ha, mudaf ilay, it ya'um. It generalizes both. But here it says kaffihi. And then it says darbatan. He only did it what? Marra. Darbatan, wahidatan. One time. It then says, thumma nafadhaha. And then he did what? He blew the dust off his hands. Then what did he do? Thumma masaha biha dhahra kaffayhi bishimalihi. Then he wiped the what? Pay close attention. He says, بِظَهْرِ كَفَّيْهِ أو بِكَفِّهِ. It says, ثُمَّ مَسَحَ بِهَا ظَهْرَ كَفَّيْهِ أو كَفِّهِ, excuse me, other narrations. It says, ثُمَّ مَسَحَ بِهَا ظَهْرَ كَفِّهِ بِشِمَالِهِ. He then wiped the what? Left over the right. What is this called? What side is this called in Arabic? Nah, this is Yamin. This is Yamin. What side though? That's in English. What do we call this? This is the Dhahar or the Dhahir, and this is the Batin. This is the what? Batin. Inside, and this is the wow, black hand side. Give me 5, right? All right, Devin? You got to understand the language and the culture of the people. Correct? If we don't understand English, how are we going to understand Arabic? This is reality. If we don't understand the English culture, how are we going to understand what? Overseas. So you have the black hand side and the what? Tayyib. Everybody clear on this? So in Arabic, it says here, dhahr. Listen here. He says, ثُمَّ مَسَحَ بِهَا. He wiped with it, ظَهْرَ كَفِّهِ بِشِمَالِهِ. This is the dhahr. The dhahir. This is the dhahr. And then bishimalihi. His shimal was on the aywa. Everybody clear on this? It then says, أو ظهر شماله بكفه. Or he wiped the dhahr with his aywa. ظهر شماله. This is very important in Arabic. When it says, فوضع كفيه على فخذيه. Who? You got to notice the fiqh, the lugha. You got to be strong in this. Moving forward. ثُمَّ مَسَحَ بِهَا وَجْهَهُ. Then he did what? He didn't wash anything, Sharif. We're talking about dirt. There's no what? No washing. Everybody understand this? Tayyib? He did what? Wiped his face. That's the only thing you have to do for tayammum. Then what happened in the rest of the narration? فقال Abdullah said, أَلَمْ تَرَى عُمَرْ لَمْ يَقْنَعْ بِقَوْلِ عَمَّارٍ. He says, don't you know that Umar was not satisfied with Ammar's statement? Umar was not what? Satisfied. Ammar is telling him something that he did in the Prophet's presence. The Prophet did in his presence. Umar was not satisfied. Still not enough. Everybody clear on this or not? He wasn't satisfied. So therefore, the hadith teaches us once again the following points. The first point is what? Is that there was some khilaf regarding some issues of tayammum among the Sahaba. Alright? Number 2. Tayammum lil hadathain. Al-akbar wal-asghar. Tayammum is for both types of hadith. Everybody understand this? Minor and major. When you have to make a ghusl, there's no water. When you have to make wudu, there's no water. You still do what? Tayammum. Point number 3 is what? This hadith teaches us what? Description. No, we're dealing with the major stuff now. This teaches us the description of tayammum. It teaches the actual sifat of tayammum. The actual what? The description. The actual way of doing it. And that the only thing that is wiped in tayammum is what? That's it. Nothing else. Not the neck, not the head, not the feet, the legs, your back, the hands, and the what? Face. Is the only thing that has to be wiped in the what? And the tayammum. The only thing that has to be wiped. Everybody clear on this or not? Now, moving forward. This hadith also shows us is that tayammum has no time limit. Making tayammum has no what? No time limit. And that you can do it for as long as you what? Need to do it. As long as you what? Need to do it. Because you may have water. We mentioned how many scenarios about water? 3 of them. Al-Muhim, you can make the tayammum as long as you need to. With water or not. Al-Muhim is that you what? Need to. You got to stay up now. Everybody clear this or not? Khayr inshallah. Moving forward. This hadith also shows us the permissibility of making tayammum when it's cold, based off of the understanding of Abu Musa radiallahu anhu. So how many parties do we have right here, hypothetically speaking? How many groups in this hadith? 2 groups. First group was permissible to make tayammum for these issues. And the second group was what? Who was on the first group? Abadan. We're not focusing. We're not giving out 100% of mental focus. The first group is Abu Musa and Ammar. The other group is who? Aywa. Ibn Mas'ud and who? Umar ibn Khattab. Everybody got this or not? Everybody clear on this or not? Right. Let's go back to the hadith. What other fawaid do we take from this hadith, Khalid? The permissibility of boxing in Islam. Very good. And there's nothing haram or disliked based off of what these Sahaba did to do what? Go back and forth. It doesn't mean that I don't respect you. It doesn't mean that you think you know more than me. But we both want to do what, Dion? We both want to what? Reach the what? The truth. So that's why we're having pay attention now, respectable, knowledge-based what? Debate. Me hollering at you, you hollering at me, you're stupid, no you're stupid, I know you don't. That's obviously what? Out of the window. That's un-Islamic. Me calling and hollering and shouting for my group, for my sheikh, for my ta'ifa, that's not what? It's not what, ikhwan? That's wrong. It's not okay at all. But for me to sit down with you and have a what? An actual knowledge-based what? Debate. With knowledge. With respect. I respect you as a person. But we're just having a little what? That's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to hurt you. You're not trying to hurt me. But we're definitely trying to... Hey, wow. Everybody clear on this? There's nothing wrong with what? With that. So if you read a narration in which Umar or Abu Hurairah or this one says, do not argue. He who argues is not from us. He who argues kada. Do not argue ahlul bid'ah kada. Do not argue among yourselves kada. We understand that statement is not what? Absolute. The statement isn't what? Absolute. Because just as you find an athar that this companion would not debate, you're going to find a what? Another athar in which they debated. Which proves, not that they contradicted themselves, but what he said here meant something what? Specific. Don't debate for your personal motives. Don't debate someone who's obstinate, who doesn't want to hear the truth, but he just likes to debate. And there are many brothers like this. There's argumentative brothers. They just like to fight just to what? Just to fight. Just to argue. Only debate to reach a what? A point. To both sharpen our skills. And to educate each other. I learned something from you. You what? Learn from. Everybody understand this? So he says don't debate. He meant something specific here. Don't debate for your own personal reason. Don't debate someone who clearly knows more than you. Kada. Don't debate someone who's evil and wicked. And this narration proves that it is what? Permissible. Everybody understand this? The problem that we suffer from in America, Canada, UK, Australia, people taking one athar from one sahabi, one athar from one tabi, one athar from one statement of Imam Ahmed, and neglecting 5 others. And then running wild and crazy with it and forcing it down to people's throats. And if you don't take this one narration with I may even not even understand it properly, then you're dalun mudil. You're astray and you're leading other people astray. That's wrong. And the dalil, the hujjah, is what is found in what? These books. That's bayni wa baynik al-kutub. Whatever we find, we take all of it, we accept it, and we analyze it, we put it on the table. Not just one volume from a 12-volume book or 13-volume book. Everybody understand this? One statement from among a pool of other statements. So this shows that all of these Sahaba did what? They debated with respect. Who debated who first? It was Abu Musa and Abdullah Mas'ud. Then secondly was what? Everybody understand this? Khayr inshallah. The next fact that we take from the hadith is what? Is that it's not from the way of the pious predecessors to be a blind follower and a bigot, to be staunch and stuck on your view and on your group and on your sheikh. Who knows more hypothetically, Ibn Mas'ud or Abu Musa? Without a doubt. Did Abu Musa submit to Ibn Mas'ud? Nope. With all due respect. Who's more virtuous, Ammar ibn Yasir or Umar ibn Khattab? Without any question, without any doubt. Yet and still, Ammar did not what? He didn't just submit. So that is also what? Just that. But that statement, the Sheikh said it, Sheikh Fulan said it, no matter how knowledgeable he is, he may be what you're saying he is. So what? It doesn't mean I have to take a statement that clearly does not go with common sense or with the clear text of the Kitab and the Sunnah and the Ijma'. With all due respect, Sheikh Lutfi, I humbly say I disagree with you, Sheikh. It doesn't mean I disrespect you. I'm not saying I know more than you, but I don't agree with your statement. And you cannot bring no narration, no ayah, no hadith, no ijma' saying that if I don't agree with you, then I'm not Salafi. And now I'm not upon the Sunnah. As we hear so often on the internet, Sheikh Fulan is the Kadha. He's the most knowledgeable Kadha. Even so. Even what? Even so. What did it say? We only survive by what? Following the rules. That's the whole entire madhab of Salaf, is rules. And the moment we get out of those rules, we're going to live how we live today. In total chaos. 20 years going by, no development, no growth. Because we're not following the rules. And the whole concept of this whole thing, he said what? This whole thing is what? It's based off of not worshiping personalities. Why did you leave being a Braylawi or Deobandi or Tablighi? Why did you leave being a Sufi and come to Salafiyya, quote unquote? Except for what, Talib? Except for what? Because of what? This rule right here. Is that there is no taking the statement of a sheikh and making it text of Kitab and Sunnah. But that's the whole reason why you left. So you left from Jama'at al-Tabligh to Dawat al-Salafiyya, and you're doing something just as bad, if not worse than you were doing there. You left, quote unquote, being a Hanafi and being Salafi, and you're doing things that the Hanafis themselves don't do. The Hanafis are following someone, blindly following someone who died over 1,000 years ago, who's dead. He has no changing views or opinions. There's no political influence on this man, Abu Hanifa. And you're blindly following someone who's alive. One day he says Fulan's a genius. The next day he says Fulan's a shaitan. One day he praises this group, this website, these people in London. The next day they're innovators and they're ignorant and they don't know anything. One day he praises this one, the next way who's worse now? Huh? Are we clear on this? So that's sad and that's very unfortunate. So the way of the Salaf al-Salih is based upon what? Rules. And the moment we do not follow these rules, we're not going to enjoy this way. Everybody clear on this? And there is no personality worship in our what? In our way. We don't do that. We go with the dalil. We love, we respect, we humble ourselves, but that which does not go in accordance with the rules, we do not what? Just submit to it. And even if it does go with the rules, but it doesn't appear to us, then we have to stop and what? Think about it. Everybody understand this? Khayran, inshallah. The next fact that we take from this hadith is what? Is, according to some ulama, is the affirmation of qiyas. Is that qiyas is from the religion. To make a critical analogy. Ammar radiallahu anhu, he rolled around in the dirt based off of what? Based off of what? Ghusl, exactly. So he took the ghusl template with water and he put what in his place? With dirt. Everybody understand this? Did the Prophet ﷺ say you shouldn't have done that? What did he say? This would have been sufficient. Everybody clear on this? In other words, his initial qiyas, the ideology of making qiyas, wasn't something that the Prophet rejected. Wasn't something the Prophet what? Rejected. In other words, your qiyas in this situation isn't proper. But he didn't necessarily reject him from making qiyas. Do you understand what qiyas is? It's to take an issue over which there is what? No. Qiyas is the issue. The issue has what? It's proof. It's proof. It's been established where? In the Quran and Sunnah. The issue's been what? In the where? Such as making a ghusl. When you make a ghusl, where does the water have to get away? Just your face and your hands? Ayywa, ahsant. That's proven where? Quran and Sunnah. No doubt about that. So therefore, Ammar radiallahu anhu, he had an issue in which the reason for making the ghusl is the same or different? Ahsant. Same illah. Same what? Same illah. Same reason. But there's no text that he knew of doing it. He knew about making tayammum in general. So therefore, he took one ruling that was established in the Kitab and the Sunnah and applied to another ruling that was not established in the Kitab and the Sunnah because of what? Not the need, the word that I just gave you. Al-illah. This is the process of qiyas. The process of qiyas. Pay close attention now. How many pieces do we have? 4 things. 4 what? 4 things. The first is the what? Is the thing that is established. The second thing is the what? The act that is not. The third thing is what? The bridge between the two. Everybody understand this? And last but not least, that's going to lead you performing the act doing that thing. Everybody understand this? So the act of making the ghusl is established where? Quran and Sunnah. The act of making tayammum for making janaba, is the description was not established. Wow. But he knew that the concept of using clean what? Clean dirt. Everybody clear on this or not? Let's make a better example today. Is it permissible to drink wine in Islam? Nahyan? Can you drink wine? You can't drink wine. Why? Because your father told you not to drink wine? It's established. Not in, but it's what? Established. Established in the Quran and Sunnah not to drink wine. Clear. Can you smoke a blunt in New York City? Why not? It's not in the Quran or Sunnah. There's no verse that says that you can't smoke a blunt, a Philly. There's no verse. What? Right or wrong? There's no verse, right? There's nothing that says that you can't smoke a blunt in the Quran or Sunnah. You can't smoke a Philly. Right or wrong? Pay attention. Is there or is there not? There's no verse. It says marijuana, weed, nothing. It does not exist. Clear. What's the ruling on smoking a blunt? Why?
If wine intoxicates you.
Because of intoxication. Period. One thing is here. One thing is here. In the middle we have the what? The bridge. They share one thing. And that thing is what? Intoxication. So even though the blunt is not mentioned in the Quran or Sunnah, we make the process of qiyas. We make the process of what? Qiyas. نقيس هذا على هذا. نقيس هذا على هذا. Everybody understand this? Just like using a ruler, a measure, a ledger. You take, or the brick, as we said before, one size, and then you what? Apply it to different things. Apply it to what? Different things. So, wine is specifically what? Mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. By name, specifically. Marijuana, what? Is not. How can we say it's haram in 2017? How can we say Islam is for every time and place? Ahsant. Because of what? Qiyas. Everybody understand this? Because of what? Qiyas. And qiyas means it's the act of using reasoning. But you're comparing something. You're using an analogy. You're comparing this to that. Everybody clear on this? And there are different types of qiyas. This is one here. Everybody clear on this? The Quran talks about wine. It does not talk about smoking. Everybody clear on this? However, there is something that they share. And that thing is what? They both get you drunk, high, twisted. They both get you high in the air. Everybody understand this? So therefore, we say that smoking a blunt is haram. Even though it's not in the Kitab and the Sunnah. Because of a what? Because of a reason. The whole purpose, this whole way of doing this is called, that's the system. The thing in the middle is not called qiyas. This is the system. Everybody clear on this or not? Everybody understand this or not? Yes. So Ammar radiallahu anhu, what did he do in this hadith? As if he made qiyas. He made a qiyas of rolling around in the dirt based off of the ghusl, in which the water touches the entire body. And the Prophet did not say, don't think like this. The Prophet just told him it would have been what? Enough just to... Everybody clear on this? As a major argument and discussion in Al-Islam. and which you can read and find in the books of usul, kutub al-usul, usul al-fiqh. Those ulama who affirm qiyas, those who deny qiyas, those who are extreme and they made qiyas for everything, and those who limited it, and those who are balanced. We don't have the time to discuss that in detail. Al-Muhim, that's from the fawaid of this hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. We will stop here.